Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Friday, May 31st, 2024. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late, guys. But I mean, there's no reason. There's no excuse. I just had a longer run than run took longer than I thought. I had some lunch. A lot of days I skip lunch to get down here on time, but I was really hungry. So I'm sorry I'm late, and that's my fault. But it's the weekend. There was some big news last night for those of you that follow the news. My wife and I follow the news probably a little bit too closely. But yeah, so that was fun. That doesn't have anything to do with why I was late today, though. But I also had a very good run today. We got lots of stuff to talk about. We can talk about whatever you guys want. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio version on the podcast. Hope you are having a good run out there. Weather's perfect here in Crystal Lake. Not that windy, not that hot, a little bit sunny, but overall just beautiful weather for running. I had a workout today in another embargo shoe, the same embargo shoe that I've been running in for a while. I think that's the last run I need to do for my testing, so that's good. And I also got some footage from my talk that I did in New York. So I think I'm going to make a Runner's Weekend New York video. So that's just what's going on in my world. Hopefully, as you're running and listening to this, you got good stuff going on in your world. And for everyone watching this later but not live, this is the number one running live stream to listen to while you're kind of watching the clock before you can duck out early for summer hours. And speaking of summer hours, I've been thinking about it a lot. And I think for the live stream, I'm going to institute summer hours. We're going to cut back a little bit. I know it's hard to say, but I feel like we're going to cut back. I think I'm going to do 2 episodes a week starting next week, Monday and Thursday. If there's a holiday that makes Monday or some other day not work, then I think we'll just move it to the next day. But I think twice a week, same time, 1 p.m. Central. But I don't want you, I know a lot of you guys are working, but I don't want you guys, inside while it's time to be outside. It's summertime. So we're going to go to summer hours, So I think that's going to free up. I'm going to be traveling a lot this summer. I think that's going to help with a lot of that too. But also I feel like, I think we need to refresh the live stream a little bit. I had a really good time yesterday. Well, a lot of times like today when we don't have anything specific to talk about, we always find something good to talk about. But I feel like I need to revamp things a little bit. And I think I'm going to do summer hours to think about what I want to do next with the live stream. And then we'll go from there once it's time to get back to summer. You know what I mean? Martha says, that's understandable, Co. Your daughter's out of school, but we'll miss it. I know, I'll miss it too, And Leona says, okay, good to prioritize your fam before the co-fam. Thank you for understanding. And D0 Aperture says, we're just happy to get any co we can. Well, I appreciate that very much. And Daniel Burton says, good idea. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Yeah. and Martha says, I hope winter hours are going to be more frequent. Well, we'll see. I don't know that Monday through Friday is going to be sustainable for me. Cause I'd I've been talking about this for a while. I'd like to have more regular guests back again, but I'm just trying to figure out what's the format that works. You know what I mean? So, and I think having a little bit, not of a break, but having a couple fewer, I love playing games with you guys. I love when we can talk about news, that kind of thing. So Mark Peterson says, dang, now I have to be productive at work. Here's the way to look at it, Mark. With fewer live stream during the summer hours, that means that you could get more work done in less amount of time. And that way, I don't know if your job has summer hours, but if you're leaving half days on Fridays, then it'll be that much easier to go. You know what I mean? Let's see. Luis says, wait, what? Going on vacation? No, Luis, we're just going to do summer hours, I think. And so Monday and Thursday, because I feel like if we do Monday, then I get to ring the bell for everyone that raced over the weekend. And then Thursday, we could talk about, everything before the long weekend ahead and any other events that might be coming up, So that's kind of the thought for now, Monday and Thursday. All right. All right. What else we got here? We got Leona says, has anyone else been following Clayton Young's Paris Marathon build on YouTube? I love it. Yeah, I've been seeing Clayton's. I haven't really watched too many of the videos yet. The other day I was going to sit down and watch a bunch. I don't remember what happened, why I didn't. I don't know. I think I went down. Oh, you know what happened? I went down like a camera YouTube rabbit hole for a really long time. And then I got distracted from all that stuff. My big concern about it, I think that a lot of athletes this year are very smartly planning on doing a lot of content in the build up to Paris. My concern is that it's going to end up like what happened for the marathon trials, where there's going to be lots of like appetite for content in the months leading up to the trials and the weeks leading up to the trials. But all that content isn't going to hit till like boom, right when the event is upon us. And so by the time the event came, like I felt like not that there was too much content, but I was just like, it's all happening at once. So I guess that's too much content. So hopefully like it can spread out. Clayton's been starting his series already, which I like. So that's good. Good. Has Noah Lyle still been making videos? He's busy doing other things. His attention is split, I guess, you know. But there are a lot of people that have been documenting already. There's a couple of channels. So I started following like a couple athletes that are documenting their kind of like Olympic journeys. And there's one channel that's like in German. It's huge. It's doing really well. But I don't understand like a word of it, and it's not translated into English. There's no like closed captions or anything. So I'm like, I kind of watch it sometimes, but like a lot of my YouTube watching is in the background while I'm working or filming something. So then I have a hard time when it's in German. You know, that's hard. Calvin says, you know, the turnaround times need to be sped up for these videos, which isn't easy. I think that's what it is. I also feel like, you know, I feel like part of it is that, you know, no one wants to film when you're like just starting out getting into shape, you know? And I can understand why, but I feel like you need to start filming that now. You need to start making it now. Like if you want people to watch your video in the month before the Olympics, you got to start training people, letting people know that you're making videos now. Like Rory Linkletter. I feel like he had like the timing was really good for him. His videos still underperform, if you ask me. I don't know why. Well, I feel like, you know, no one asked me, but I have editing notes, I guess. But I enjoy that there's a consistency and there is a reliability. I guess that's the same thing twice. But he's starting it now, and people know that Rory makes videos. You know what I mean? So. And John Burchett Sharp says, you know, I too tend to have YouTube in the background, kind of like my radio. And it's a shame there's no AI translation attached to the YouTube feeds. I think that's coming, whether we want it or not. But yeah. Steve Blackadar says that the Clayton series is great. It's candid and honest, and more pros should do their own version of this. I agree. You know, like, or, I mean, frankly, I feel like, but it's hard, right? Because it's like, yes, I love when like the Clayton series everyone that I've talked to seems to really enjoy what he's doing. I really enjoy Rory Linkletter's. I like Steven Scullion's, although his is a lot of like, there's training talk kind of stuff, and then there's other like his life kind of stuff. But I part of me is like, you know, well, why doesn't a brand just do it and make a series, and like every week they profile another athlete, you know, and then it's like a series you follow, kind of like Matt Chittum's like Road to the Trials kind of thing, where there were multiple athletes that you check in with regularly, you know. But then it's like, would people watch it? I feel like once it's like Adidas presents, you know, then it kind of loses the intimacy that makes it interesting. But on the other hand, if you think about it, like, but if HBO made it and it's like, you know, when they follow a team from preseason all the way to the championships, I feel like that's really interesting. So there's got to just be a different, I don't know like more athletes should do it. I wish that there were another way that made it an easier lift for the athlete, but also higher storytelling and production quality, I guess that we're starting to get that now with some of these Netflix series and stuff, As far as like AI stuff goes, Cousin Pino Michael says Apple Podcast already has an AI generated transcript of the live stream podcast episodes. Oh, did they? Really? That's interesting. The thing that I use when I do interviews, so when I interview like athletes or like other pre-recorded stuff, like when I do the coaching calls, Riverside auto generates a transcript. Is that AI? Would you consider that AI of like voice recognition? I don't consider that AI. Like if I use CapCut and I have CapCut put captions on my reels, is that AI based? I know I have to upload it and or internet connection is required, so it's not doing it locally. But I don't know. Does anyone know? Does it depend? Different ones do it differently. But yeah. Calvin says, we know 95 to 98% of these pro runners still need a day job. I guess I'd rather do that than be a content creator centered around their running. Maybe, I mean, that's going to be more profitable for sure until you really invest in it for a long time. And even then, there's no guarantee. Because I feel like there are a lot of athletes that have tried doing stuff like this and have given it valiant efforts and it's just never caught on for a variety of understandable reasons. I'm not gonna name names. I was gonna name names, but I'm not gonna name names because that's not nice. Even though I don't mean it as a mean thing, just to give examples, but I won't name names. So it's a risk. It's a lot easier to just get a job and get a paycheck every 2 weeks, if you're doing it for the money. But I also feel like, you would do that, you would have that social media component to it as a way of not supplementing your income as like, well, then I'll get ad rev. But I feel like it supplements your marketability as an athlete, So I feel like it's still part of, I don't know. Frank says voice recognition is absolutely AI. If you don't think so, your understanding of the word AI is wrong. I have no understanding of the word AI. I'm not really sure what it means. Like Daniel Burton says, like, why not? Why don't I think that voice recognition would be AI? I don't know, because I feel like it's just it's like, I'm not sure where an algorithm ends and artificial intelligence begins. You know what I mean? Like if you're telling me that like CapCut gets better over time. So like, for example, my phone knows that I spell certain words or have certain words that are not in a regular vocabulary, and it learns which words to not correct anymore after a while. It hasn't learned anything, right? There's some sort of algorithm that says like, if someone typically chooses not to correct the spelling of this word, maybe it's FF Blast Plus, and it's thinking I mean something else, and I stop, and I keep having to undo its auto change back. It hasn't learned. Has the machine learned something? Or is there just like after 3 times, stop bothering. This is a word that this person intends to spell this way. So like that's where I'm like, I don't know that that's artificial intelligence. Maybe it's low grade artificial intelligence. You know what I mean? But like, I guess like the thing that would be like artificial intelligence for me is like if new words get invented after the machine has been programmed, can it accurately spell those words? Like if the AI was invented, like, or implemented software version, 3.4.6, whatever. And after that, the word Riz came out. Like, would it understand the context of that and be able to like properly understand that? Like, well, this sound Riz it could be rich, it could be Riz, R-I-Z-Z, but from the context of the words around it, it understands that it means Riz and will write the caption as Riz, R-I-Z-Z. Then I feel like that's artificial intelligence. It's learning something because it's figured out something that it wasn't programmed to do. But but I don't. Maybe I'm just completely have no idea what artificial intelligence is. But that's kind of where my head's at on it. Steve McKellar says a scientific calculator is AI for me. Yeah. Calvin Hong says, like, this is the whole plot of Westworld. Oh, well, humans can be decoded and their patterns and behaviors can be learned and predicted with pretty good accuracy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it reminds, like, I liked Westworld. I never saw the whole thing because I never had HBO, so I'd always watch these series. I forget how I was watching it, but I think I watched like the first season of Westworld. I got super into it, and then I didn't watch any more seasons for some reason. But I mean, it's like hard determinism. If you think about it that way, that concept of free will, like, I don't know. Like, if we had more sophisticated ways of tracking the variables that actually go into a decision making, instead of like, I had a hunch, would be able to accurately predict what feels like free will. Like, oh, this is why I chose blue to wear today. When in fact, if it was like, well, based on the frequency of laundry and where it is in my closet and my general tendency to be lazy and the fact that I had a couple glasses of wine last night, if there was all that, could we predict that I would have worn the shirt? I don't know. That's kind of what like hard determinism is. Well, that's a way of interpreting hard determinism. Anyway, this is really not a very great podcast live stream conversation anyway. Frank Hillary says, you know what? Westworld season 1 was all I really wanted to watch anyway. Oh, okay. If I did I not miss much? Eric says it jumped the shark in season 2. Oh, okay. All right. I'm loading, bringing it back to running for us. Thank you. Any last minute tips for running in high temperatures? Doing my first marathon tomorrow and is expected to be 27 degrees Celsius, which my sweetest body is not used to. Okay, this is real last minute tips. Okay. So like on race day, if it's hotter than you're expecting, I would say dump water on yourself as you're going. Drink more fluid than you think you need to. And then also back off your pace, your goal, like your planned pace a little bit as well. Everything needs to come down when it's going to be that hot. So that's what I would recommend. Cosmopolitan Michael says, are you enjoying your recent embargo shoe? Can you do a video telling us how to set up the perfect embargo shoe rotation? I am enjoying my recent embargo shoe. I have two other embargo shoes and then a third one coming. That's the one that I've been talking about that's delayed. I was telling you a little bit about that one yesterday. Yeah, you can't really do an embargo shoe rotation. You just slot it in based on what type of shoe it is in your regular rotation. Because you rarely have enough shoes, embargo shoes at the same time to do an entire rotation of embargo shoes. That'd be kind of a funny video. Just piss people off. It's just Gaussian blur the whole time. And then Gaussian blurs and bleeps. And then for the daily trainer, you're going to have the beep, bleep, 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 I think that'd be funny. I don't know. Let's see. Adam says, did you talk about yesterday's Bislett track? Near world record in the men's 5,000. Almost everyone got a PB. Allison Dos Santos versus Karsten. Women's 3,000. An Aussie one other than Jess Hull. Jamaican women sprinter slow again. Is that Oslo? What? I've been seeing all these Oslo results and I'm so confused because I'm like, what day is it? Today's Friday. I just watched the replay of Sharika Jackson not having a great race in the 200 meters. That was wild. I saw I didn't see the Allison versus Karsten race. I saw the finish of the Ingebrigtsen race where he had to dive. Are we talking about the same thing? I don't even know. I don't even know if we're talking about the same thing. Yeah, I was as busy as Ozzo. So it was like a midweek race. I don't know. All right, Steve McKellar has a running shoe question. I really love the New Balance SC Trainer 2. I'm getting up on miles for them. Should I wait for the version 3 in August or jump to the Hoka Skyward X? I guess it depends on how many miles you have on them. I don't love the Skyward X. It's very different than the SC Trainer 2. It's kind of, I mean, I compared them. I think they're trying to do a lot of the similar things, but I think the SC Trainer 2 does it a lot better. I feel like if you go from the SC Trainer 2 to the Skyward X, you're going to feel like it's a lot thicker of a shoe, like denser of a shoe. It's not going to feel as speedy, right? So like I would probably, if you can wait that long, but you might not be able to wait that long. Is it on sale? Are they at Joe's New Balance outlet? Can anyone find them there? I'm trying to think of what else you could get. I mean, other than another pair of the SC Trainer version 2s. I mean, none of them are going to be cheap, like hold you over until kind of shoes. But maybe you run in like another daily trainer and kind of spare the SC Trainer 2 until the next one comes out. By the way, I can't confirm that it comes out in August. I'll take your word for it. I don't know about that one. I did just get an email from New Balance, though. I forget what shoes they're sending. None of them are under embargo. One is the new big one. I think they're sending me the next more. The new big one that they made, and then there was a third one. I don't remember, but we'll see when they come in. Frank says, the feed made all spring energy gels 50% off, saying if it only has 50% of the calories, you should only pay 50%. I feel like that's a good way to move the product that no one else is going to want. You know what I mean? And I feel like 50% off for Awesome Sauce, 18 grams of carbs. If that's the number, that's a good number. I like that number. I like between 18 and 22. That might actually be perfect for me. There's no salt in that one, though, right? So, yeah. And Eric says, yeah, I have a bunch of Spring Awesome Sauce, so I'll be using it for my lighter training days and not in any race. Yeah, I mean, it kind of stinks of the way that they've got the weight reduction on it, but, or at least the carb reduction number on it, but it's still a decent number. It's a fraudulent, it's a shame how we realized it, but like fraud is not the right word, unless maybe there is. Someone needs to investigate, but I don't know. All right, Calvin says there are no SC Trainer 2s on Joe's New Balance outlet, but you get the SC Elite version 3 on Joe's New Balance outlet for around $180. Yeah, but do you want to spend $180 before you get the shoe you really want? You know what I mean? That's why I feel like that's kind of like buying an On Cloud Monster 2 and then getting an On Cloud Monster Hyper a little bit later, you know? I'm not sure that's what you want to do. Yeah, I think it might be a fun time to try something else that you get on sale, you know? Just to hold you over. Yeah, Daniel Estrella says the Balos. Yeah, they're sending me that one. Yeah, you know what's interesting is I think, you know, I could be wrong, but from what I read, I don't know if it was in that email or what, but from what I've been reading, I'm pretty sure it must have been in that email. Maybe I'm reading it off a spec sheet. But it seems like the More is turning into like a running or walking shoe. And I feel like the Balos is kind of sliding into what the More was. from what I've read. I've not tried on either of those shoes yet, and I've not talked to anyone about those shoes, but it'll be interesting to kind of test those out. I like the More as it is. It's one of my favorite big shoes. And I kind of don't want them to change the formula on it a lot unless the Balos is there. Like maybe they realized, oh, the More, lots of people that are not running it are drawn to it, so let's not fight that, and let's give the runners something else to look at. That's one way to do it. Not the way I would do it, but it's one way to do it. Yeah. Lena says, how do you keep track of all the shoes, models, specs, etc.? It's so impressive. I don't really keep track of the specs, but unless they really jump out. I mean, I'll remember like the foams and stuff, but I don't remember like the stack heights. I sometimes remember the heel drops and stuff, but I usually remember the foams and I remember what they feel like. But I don't know. One thing that, I mean, maybe it's like I've always just been obsessed with shoes. One thing I used to be able to do is I used to be able to go into like a Foot Locker and go through the lineup and tell you how much every single one of the shoes weighed. Mostly basketball shoes is what I was interested at the time in high school, because I used to get the East Bay catalog and you would just flip through it back and forth over and over again. And they didn't write many words on it, but they would tell you like how much it weighed, what it cost, the colors that were available, and I would just thumb through that over and over. And then eventually I would just start memorizing on accident, like the weights. So I've always been, I guess, just like kind of inclined to the specs of shoes. Adam Fierce coming in with some more track news. He says, the Festival of Miles in St. Louis was last night. Sadie Englehart setting a high school mile record, 4:28. Just minutes after Ali Zealand had set the record at 4:30. Can you imagine how much that sucks for Ali Zealand? She set the high school record, took it away from Sadie Englehart, and then Sadie Englehart ran in the pro race and broke the record, taking it back. I feel like, man, I hope Ali Zealand had a lot of pictures, you know what I mean? In those like handful of minutes, that kind of stinks. But yeah, it looked like it was a good event. That event's growing. Is it like, is it the third year? They started it before the pandemic, right? Or no? Luis wants to know, and this is a good question, do all the Spring Energy flavors have the same problem, or is it just the Awesome Sauce? I think it's just the Awesome Sauce, because the Awesome Sauce had 45 on it. Here's the thing. What if from the beginning, the 45 was like a error? Because I was watching something from someone. Someone had posted done like a sit down in front of my camera and I'll talk through this whole thing, timeline of what all the thing. It was like an explainer video. And she was like, and here's what the testing was. And keep in mind, for the testing from this lab, they test and they give their results in like measurements of like in relation to 200 grams of substrate of test material. And so it's like, so any of these numbers that are on this test, you have to divide by 2 to figure out what would be in an Awesome Sauce or something along those lines, or per 100 grams. And so I wonder if it was like some sort of clerical error that it was 45, and everyone was just like, yeah, that's what we had, 45. And then they ran with it. Because what are the other Spring Energies like? I feel like someone talked about this yesterday. Someone said Canterbury was real low. Wasn't it? Yeah, Eric says all the Spring Energy gels were well under the count advertised, at least the ones tested so far. Okay, yeah. And Calvin says, malicious or not, the response once people noticed the difference was what did them in. And Calvin says, denying it rather than saying we'll pull them from our shelves and retest was a bad look. Yeah, I have a feeling. I don't know. Everyone keeps talking about how small of a company Spring is.
but that kind of feels like the lawyer. That's what the lawyers advised us to say, kind of thing. And Lisa says how spring handled this should be taught in business classes going forward on what not to do. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Do you think this is fatal? Do you think this is the end of spring energy? I feel like they can come back. I think it's fine. Frank says, you know what? I don't think a lot of people were actually memorizing the East Bay catalog. Things were pretty boring where I where I lived in New Jersey in 1997. So that was all we had. It was, basically I had like kind of, I would look at the East Bay catalog all the time. I would look at Crutchfield catalog magazine all the time, and then I was watching NBA on TNT. That's about like that was my life back then. I did some homework and stuff. My dad used to make me read magazines all the time too, like news. He tried to make me read an entire newspaper a day because he heard about some other Asian kids that were very smart that were doing that, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. So he got me a subscription to Sports Illustrated and Time Magazine and made me read them all the way through every issue. Calvin says, all right, the New Balance marketing guy said the version 5 was changed because they thought the version 4 might have been too unstable and relaxed. Just hoping it's not a brick like the Bondi. I feel like if it got more stable and more boring, I'm going to be pretty annoyed. It's not its fault. I mean, it is its fault, but it's like I'll be annoyed not at New Balance, but because it's like the 7th shoe this year that's the same thing that I could say about it. I have a feeling that's what happened. I have a feeling that they're designing it intentionally for walkers and standers. And they're leaving us runners out in the lurch. But I guess they're giving us the Balos. Maybe. I don't know. Calvin says, the good old East Bay magazine, I still had that in high school. East Bay magazines came back for a short while before East Bay. I think it was kind of like their last hurrah. But I was getting East Bay magazine. I think I used to get it out here at the house. I know I used to get it back at the condo. I remember, if you look back, I'm sure, I don't know how far back you have to look, but I know I've done reviews wearing an East Bay shirt. And that was a recent purchase. Shannon says, all right, I tested the Skyward X at Festival of Miles. They feel really nice and cushiony. Too bad they're too expensive. They are expensive, aren't they? Shannon, I thought you might be mad about the Skyward X because you like the Prime X so much, and they're very different shoes in my mind. That's not where I thought your feedback would be. But that's interesting. And Danny Guglielmo says, how close is the Neo Vista to the Super Comp version 1? I don't know. I haven't tried the Neo Vista yet. I'm still on my backlog of shoes. That and sometimes I'm running late, and so I don't have time to film. I still haven't filmed the shoe. I like to film it first before I run in it. So I haven't done that yet with several shoes. Remember we got those 2 Under Armour shoes in. We got the Neo Vista shoe in. What else is in here that I could tell you about? I don't know. There's a lot that I can't tell you about that's in here right now. I have to film those too. Yeah, so I don't know yet. I apologize. Johnny Dodgen says he spied some laceless or aero on-running track spikes at the Oslo Diamond League, similar to the ones seen in Boston. Yeah, it's interesting. How hard do you think that is to get on? I just feel my toes hurt just thinking about it. And Shannon says, the V2 of the Primex disappointed me, so I'm starting to get a wandering eye. Well, the V2 of the Primex got a little bit more stable, a little bit more boring. That's what happened to it this year. All right, Steve Dorval says, good ultra shoe. Thinking about going to Brooks Caldera 6 is on sale. I've never run in a Caldera before. It's a very tall trail shoe. I know Robbie always likes that one. I don't know anyone else who likes that one. I don't know anyone that dislikes it. I just don't know anyone else that's running in it. I've never run in a Caldera before, so I can't tell you. What's that? J.K. Samante? J.K. Samante. I'm going to say J.K. Samante says, I remember when I ordered Kobe 7s off of Eastbay magazine. That's a long time ago. I don't remember what I've ordered from Eastbay, but I remember getting the magazine all the time. I love looking at that thing. And then I also just really liked, they had like the mass market shoes in the front, right? And you go through like basketball, baseball, football. You would see everything was like really nice and glossy. And then at the back, there was all the stuff that teams could order. So you would see like a windbreaker jacket top, and it would be available in 8 different colors. And then the matching pants also available in the same 8 different colors. I just always thought that was fun. I was like, can I buy one of these? I just want one. I just want one unlabeled team tracksuit. I just thought that was fun. I don't remember if I ever did. I don't think I ever did. I think I did. I must have. Because I remember looking at that section a lot. And, for a while, I thought windbreakers were going to make a comeback. And they kind of started to, and then they never did. I really want the starter jacket and the starter pullover to come back. Those were nice and big and baggy. I enjoy those. I think it's very functional. It's not just nostalgia, Brandon says Eastbay was great for wrestling gear when I was in high school. Yeah, I don't know how people bought. I think I bought spikes from Eastbay. I don't remember how people got spikes otherwise, because I don't remember really going to like a running store. That must have been how I got my spikes. I'm pretty sure. Cosmopolitan Michael says, do you think it being an Olympic year has any effect on many shoes being more conservative or stable this year? I don't think so. I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason is that I don't know. So one of my contacts at one of the brands was like, hey, you got to start subscribing to some of these industry magazines. It'll explain a lot. And I'm like, what are these industry magazines? And he told me, and I wrote them down, and I've never subscribed. But I get the sense that there's some sort of brand that not brand. There's some sort of company that does polling, and I feel like the response that that every brand received was that a lot of runners are complaining that the shoes don't last long enough, and that they're unstable. It hurts their ankles, And I feel like in response, every shoe this year has been a little bit firmer than I wanted it to be. Not every shoe, but a lot of shoes have been firmer than I wanted it to be and got wider in the middle to be more stable. I think they're all responding to the same thing. So there's something that everyone's responding to. But it's kind of weird. I mean, maybe it's just coincidence, but also it maybe just be independent realizations of the same thing or independent responding to the same thing. Because everything got super squishy for a while. It was fun. And then there's kind of a pendulum swing, So I don't know. Maybe everyone just got the same feedback on their own product. It came that way. And Shannon says, have any of you guys tried Never Second gels? Double the sodium, consistency of a half chilled Jello, but really like the caffeinated one I had last weekend. Felt good for my first 15 miles in a while. Half chilled Jello. Is it cold? Is that the one that you freeze? I'm not sure. If that's the one that you freeze, then Megan Featherston has given me one, and I had it when I was in Baltimore last summer. It was really good, but it made my stomach hurt because it was so cold. Yeah, but I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Mark Peterson wants all the squish. I'm with you. I want things squishy. I've told many brands, if it hurts people's ankles, then you're on the right track. Keep going. You know what I mean? Some shoes, we have a whole category of stability shoes. I think we need a category of instability shoes. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I don't want the shoes that are more stable. I don't want a shoe that's going to last 600 miles. That's boring to me. I know that's not great for the environment, and I know that's not great for finances, but it's also not great for running enjoyment either. You know what I mean? I want squishy shoes. Oh, okay. Shannon says, you don't freeze it Never Second? It's just more wet than Martin. I don't know if I've had Never Second then. And Cobalt Blue says, every runner has different needs and preferences in running shoes. If all the shoe brands change all their shoes, no one will be happy. That's true. That's true. I mean, I feel like more segmentation is what we need, you know? But we've had so many stability shoes for so long. Can we have some instability shoes now? We had some for a while. Sean Doman says, have you guys tried DFL gels? They're just awesome sauce. That's so funny. Daniel Estrella says, listening to the Born to Run audiobook. What's your take on max cushioning making our feet weak and leading to injuries? I think I don't really know enough about it. I know Born to Run was also written a long time ago. It was the predecessor to the minimalist shoe movement. So we went from like stability everything, then we went to minimal everything, and now we're in like a maximal moment where everything is just a bunch of stack height. And you know, I think the argument to summarize it is that like when it's so much cushion, your feet don't know what they're doing, and so they'll smack the ground to try and get a sense of what's happening. Maybe that's true or not, but like, I don't know. I don't think I could run the miles that I run if I were running in 2010 technology. You know what I mean? So that's I don't think that they're leading to more injuries. But I'm not a PT or an ortho, so I don't read, and I'm not familiar with the literature on what the data is. Maybe there's a retrospective analysis since max cushion shoes have been around for a long time now, but I'm not aware of any of it. I don't think it's been good for me. It's been fine for me. So, you know, I've had injuries too, but I think that you have to remember that Born to Run spawned a movement in shoes that no one really adheres to anymore. It's a great book. I love it. It's a really fun book. I enjoy the premise of it quite a bit. And the Tarahumara are incredible. But, and they run on their sandals, you know. But I feel like you have to also like read it. You have the benefit of reading it with historical hindsight in mind, you know. Space and Field says, I used to crush 70-mile weeks in the Nike free runs. No way my old knees and feet could do that now. Maybe you have old knees and feet because of that. The Nike free, it said it in the product. It was like it's meant for like 5K running or shorter. Yeah. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it for today, guys. Starting Monday, summer hours. So we'll have a live stream Monday and Thursday next week. But on Monday, hopefully I'll have another video for you to watch on Monday. But we'll also do another live stream. I have some unboxings to do. And I can't wait to hear about any of the races that you guys are doing. So hope you guys have fun racing this weekend or enjoying your long runs. Starting to be feel like summer. So enjoy that summertime running out there and summertime living. All right, guys. I'll see you on Monday. Thanks. Bye.